Van Baarle was just away for a good, I don't know, 30-ish kilometers or so, something like that, and just held off the field. It was incredibly impressive. And it's a great signing from Jumbo Visma. I think the fact that they can shield a Wout van Aert who doesn't have to be in peak form right now, and then they can deploy all these other riders, of which, that is why Van Baarle was brought in this year, to be that other classics kind of rider that they can deploy. It's just such a great move by Jumbo, and they are just incredibly dominant to the point where it's a bit annoying now, to be honest with you, already.
Yeah, I mean, total Jumbo Visma destruction. Really on the opening weekend. Omloop was probably the most evident of total Jumbo Visma destruction in the fact that Van Baarle went away almost effortlessly, really, powered all the way to the end with no one really seeming like they came close to challenging him. And then he also had different cards to play with Laporte behind. They sort of ground up the group. They made a group of 20 or so riders very early on in the race, almost for no reason, just to sort of test the other teams. And they made up almost like a third of that group and with their numbers. It really was a show of strength. And yeah, I mean, worrying for what is to come. But at Kuurne Brussels Kuurne, I think that was more sort of other teams could have come close, but they really sort of benefited from the numerical advantage in the group. When Benoot went, there was sort of chaos behind. They started looking at each other, and that was enough to sort of break the elastic and for Benoot to go all the way. And it was like they didn't sort of back one of their horses. They weren't sure whether it would be Van Hooijdonk or Benoot, as they kept them both in contention all the way to the end. They didn't sort of have enough confidence to send one up the road or to try to get it solo. They wanted to bank on a sort of dash in the final kilometer, which was brave of them to do so, especially when you have Mohoric and Taco van der Hoorn in that group, who are two of probably the most tactically intelligent riders in the professional peloton, especially on a classics profile like this. So it really was impressive. But yeah, I'm not quite sure how I feel about the upcoming classics with this kind of domination. It feels a little bit more dominant than Quick Step for some reason. Feels like it's more calculated than Quick Step. Quick Step sometimes was like, wow. Like it was a little bit sort of chaotic, but it all worked out in the end. Where Jumbo now, it's like, oh, okay, it's done now. Like you really could have switched off Omloop with 30 kilometers to go, seeing that Van Baarle had 30 seconds of a lead. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, you have to give props as well to like Arnaud Delis, who, despite crashing in Omloop, fought his way back like in the wind by himself, managed to make it into that front group of the Mer Kappelmer, and then also sprinted to second place with the kind of peloton, if you want to call it, charging up behind. I mean, that was sensational. And then he backed it up with another good performance in KBK today. So really going to show that all the hype around Arnaud Delis is not just bullshit. It is an actual straight up fact that he is an animal at the moment, and who knows what he's going to be doing. Maybe he'll win Milano San Remo. There might be a clip about that somewhere.
Yeah, I feel like I recall some kind of discussion about that. Is the question here, has Jumbo Visma once again changed cycling? Are they too strong now? This we were talking about it last week, that we thought it was a bit risky just going straight from Tenerife to racing without any warm-up, tune-up races and going straight for the targets. And here we are. They end the drought that the Belgian riders had in Kuurne Brussels Kuurne. No winner since 2016. And they get 4 riders on 2 podiums, which is quite impressive, to say the least, for 2 days. And we haven't even talked about Gran Camino yet.
And it was 4 different riders as well. I mean,
exactly, yeah.
It makes it all the more impressive. It's like last week was the UAE show. This week it's Jumbo Visma, yin and yang. They're doing a little cha with domination through the cycling season, and it's interesting to see. I think Jumbo Visma is probably the one that's innovating them more than UAE. Jumbo have been innovating since their sort of rebrand as Jumbo Visma in 2019. Ever since then, I think we did see this very big paradigm shift. Particularly with the COVID break. After that, it felt almost as though, boom, we have the new super team, and everyone was following them, sort of copying what they were doing. They even have management staff at the top. Richard Plugger, he's a very innovative, very different kind of CEO, one that we don't see. I mean, it takes a lot for a team to go through these big paradigm shifts, and he is the guy who is implementing so many new ideas and so many innovative plans for Jumbo Visma, and it is paying off. I think the Altitude Camp thing is working for them. It worked last year with Vingegaard. I was skeptical about it in 2021, but now I think it really is this could be the neat new trick. Other teams have been trying to do it for a while. Sky were playing around with it back in 2012 in the Wiggins year, where they sent their riders off to a training camp for a while, but not quite to the length that Jumbo Visma were doing. And also just the fact that they're very sort of fine-tuned. They've streamlined the season for their top dogs very neatly. I think probably shows that they know something about the numbers. They know something about the riders, their form, their morale that we as fans don't quite know. And it seems to be working 100% at the moment. The opening weekend of the Classic shows that, as does Gran Camino, which we'll talk about later on.
It's as if over the years, just somebody else has just emerged each year. Like Jumbo came with, they had like Roglic, Wout van Aert and Dumoulin. And then it was like Vingegaard came along, and they also had Sepp Kussem. And it seemed like a very GC-orientated team. But now, through the last 2 years, with the addition of Laporte and also Van Baarle and the development of Van Hooijdonk, plus Tratnik as well. And Benoot, all of a sudden now it's also a classics team and a world dominating GC team. So it's everywhere. And it's in the cyclocross and it's in the under 23 races as well, because their under 23 team, alongside FDJ, is probably one of the best. They've got, like, last year they had 2 riders on the podium of Lavenir and Hessman and what's the Norwegian guy's name? Johannes Stouter-Mitten.
Yeah.
Like he was up there as well. They've also got like Archie Ryan as well. They've got the Van Dijk twins as well. Like, it's just insane. They are everywhere. Like, Jumbo Visma is the dominant team in cycling. Dare I say, too dominant.
It is sort of, no one likes out and out dominance. It makes it less interesting as fans. There's not as much intrigue of who's going to win the race. Oh, we don't quite know. And then it opens it up tactically. No one really knows what's going on. Whereas now we have an out and out team that will go into most races this year as the team to beat. All eyes will be on them. All expectations are weighed on them. That I think once they're winning, it gets boring. However, think about how we're going to feel if it backfires at one point. Then we're going to see sort of, I don't know, I feel like there's going to be questions and so forth, and the community will liven up a little bit. Even with some of their sprinters, I mean, Olaf Koy as well. Once he gets going on some of these big World Tour level sprints, it is going to be it's going to open things up. It's going to make things really, really dominant for the squad. So yeah, I mean, to answer your question, yes, Jumbo Visma have completely changed cycling, just in exactly the same way Sky have, but they've updated it for 2020. How long this dominance can last, I don't know, until maybe some of their staff members start moving around, some of their riders start moving around and sharing their expertise. Maybe the Jumbo Visma sort of the secret formula will be leaked, and other teams will find out what they're doing and follow suit. It will probably be a while until we reach that point. We're probably moving towards the peak of Jumbo Visma dominance. We've seen the sort of the rise, 2019 really up until this point. This is the strongest we have seen them since they started, really, in the past 12 months. Is this the peak? Are we going to keep riding this wave? For how much longer can we keep riding this wave? We'll wait and find out. Do we have any legitimate people who can possibly rival? Maybe UAE Team Emirates. They just have a very, very different mentality of working. Can they shift that mentality towards a Jumbo style one? We'll wait and see.
And the fact that we haven't even got Wout van Aert started a race yet in the road season is terrifying. Yeah, we talked about this. Dylan Van Baarle, Ineos letting him go was a big mistake, and he proves it in the first race at Omloop.
Yeah, exactly. I also want to point out Wilco Kelderman. I think he's going to be a big, big character in what could be an incredibly dominant year for Jumbo Visma.
They messed up big time.
Oh, no.
Not Jumbo.
No. But then again, you don't know what sort of the money and the contract and all these perks that they've offered the riders. But I think I really, really think Wilco Kelderman's going to be a star in 2023 for Jumbo.
Yeah. 30% off his Jumbo shopping.
Exactly.